control button. South Sudan pledges democratic reforms at the ongoing African Union Summit in Ethiopian capital. And government assesses the 20-megawatt Nasi2 solar power project ahead of June commission. Hello and welcome to SSBC 1 p.m. News, coming to live in the national capital, Juba, with me, Abraham Aken. We thank you all for joining us. We begin this afternoon with President Kiir directing urgent action to address rising inflation and ongoing cash shortages as newly appointed senior officials at the Bank of South Sudan take oath of office amid efforts to restore stability and public confidence in the financial system. SSBC's Leandro Lotok reports.
In a decisive move aimed at reshaping the country's economic direction, President Salva Kiir Mayardit has directed the new leadership of the Bank of South Sudan to tackle the nation's economic crisis head-on. Kiir was speaking while swearing in Tonga Kech Deng as first deputy governor for policy and banking, and Waitui Luanj Baboth as second deputy governor for administration and finance. In a related development, Peter Dau Akol was also sworn in as Consul General in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Why is there no cash circulation? Is it from the bank or is it from the people? If it is from the people, you must get these people red-handed and present them to the law. If not, then let the whole thing flow as it used to be.
The governor of the Bank of South Sudan, Johnny Oheza Damian, welcomed the new deputies, expressing confidence that their appointments would strengthen the bank's ability to respond to the crisis.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me the opportunity to select the team I would be working with to tackle these economic challenges that our country is facing through. Both of them are not new to the bank, to the central bank.
SPLM Secretary General Dr. Akol Paul Kordit echoed the president's call, urging the new officials to act in unity and prioritize economic stabilization.
Currently, we have cash crisis, you know it very well, and South Sudan's eyes will be on you. So this is a serious task that you have to undertake. Besides that, also, banking sector has a big role to play in economic recovery, especially after the civil war, like our case, in development also. So when you stabilize the economy, banks should be able to give loans for people to have a small business and grow. And through microeconomy, a country can grow faster and be more stable.
With inflation continuing to lower purchasing power and cash shortages disrupting daily transactions, attention now turns to the central bank's new leadership and whether their stewardship can steer South Sudan toward economic recovery. Leandro Lotok, SSBC News, Juba.
President Kiir has left Juba this morning for Addis Ababa to attend the 39th ordinary session of the African Union AU Heads of State and Government Summit. The high-level gathering, hosted at the AU headquarters in Ethiopian capital, is convened under the theme Assuring Sustainable Water Availability and Safe Sanitation System to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. Leaders from across the continent are expected to deliberate on strategies to strengthen water security, improve sanitation infrastructure, and accelerate implementation of Africa's long-term development blueprint. Speaking prior to the president's departure, Chief Administrator in the Office of the President, Marik Nang Marik, says President Kiir will also participate in a meeting of the C5 plus countries. The session will be chaired by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and will focus on the current security and political situation in South Sudan. The meeting of the C5 plus engagement is expected to review ongoing peace implementation efforts and discuss regional support mechanisms aimed at consolidating stability in the country.
Today, His Excellency, the President, General Salva Kiir is traveling to Addis Ababa to attend the 39th ordinary session of the African Union. Then he is accompanied by high-level delegation. The session theme is ensuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation system to achieve goals of the Agenda 2063. On site, His Excellency will also attend the C5 meeting chaired by His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, the President.
The Vice President for Gender, Youth and Humanitarian Cluster, Rebecca Nyandeng Dumabior, has reaffirmed government's unwavering commitment to strengthening the sports sector to drive youth empowerment. Nyandeng emphasizes the importance of inclusive sports participation and improve facilities to nurture and showcase young talents as she convenes with the South Sudan Baseball Association on international sports collaboration. As Diang Hanei reports, Nyandeng, in her capacity as acting chairperson of the governance cluster, also convened with the European Union ambassador over electoral preparedness and inclusive national dialogue.
Pleasure to meet you. Yes.
On Thursday, Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng, in her capacity as the acting chairperson of the governance cluster, engages in intensive discussions with the EU ambassador to South Sudan, Pile Enason, on progress in the implementation of peace agreement and preparations for the upcoming elections. Their discussions focused on fostering inclusive political dialogue among parties to address outstanding issues ahead of December elections. Ambassador Enason reaffirmed the European Union's readiness to continue its partnership with South Sudan, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and prioritizing life-saving support for vulnerable communities.
We discussed the developments in this country generally, but also the latest problems and violence that we have seen in Jongdae in particular. I raised the issue of the Lankan hospital and the bombing of that facility and the consequences, the very severe consequences for people in that area without having access to healthcare. And I was promised that there would be further discussions on this issue and how to come forward with ideas on getting back health facilities and the operations of the humanitarian activities there.
Separately, the South Sudan National Baseball Association briefed the Vice President on an international sports partnership following the signing of a memorandum of understanding between South Sudan and Japan to promote baseball development and youth exchange initiatives. Peter Daniel Deng says the partnership aims to foster discipline, integrity, and opportunities for young South Sudanese through sports.
One of the things we discussed in our meeting is the opportunity for South Sudan players that they were able to travel to Tanzania in 2022 and play part of the Tanzania Caution Tournament. This trip was supported by the Japanese people, and it was able to bring us together as the people of South Sudan and Japan to share the love of baseball amongst our young people within Africa and South Sudan. So we're excited today that we have our fellow Japanese coming back to trace where baseball started in South Sudan and how this message could be shared with the Japanese people in Japan to let them know that the love of baseball and the growth of baseball is still going on strong, and we at the South Sudan Baseball and Softball Association cannot forget for the great effort that the Japanese has given us to make sure this sport is introduced in the country.
Masayuki, Chief Executive Director in the Office of INBI, Japan, noted that plans are underway to expand collaboration, including culture and digital storytelling initiatives to introduce South Sudan to wider Japanese audience.
I was so inspired by the idea of people from different ethnic groups coming together through sports. The purpose of this project is to share South Sudanese culture and Mama Rebecca's message with Japanese audiences through social media. And also we would like to help build a stronger friendship between two countries.
The Vice President commended the initiative, highlighting the historical connection between baseball and local communities, and reaffirmed the government's support for youth empowerment through sports. Reporting for SSBC News, Adjangane, Juba.
Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs Tudgalwak Manime urges state leaders to embrace collective responsibility in uniting communities and restoring social harmony as the country moves closer to general elections. Manime made the remarks during a meeting with the newly appointed Deputy Governor of Western Barkazal State, Achom Edward, as part of political consultations ahead of his assumption of official duties in the capital, Wau.
We have visited today to discuss the issue of security in Western Barkazal State. Because security is our top priority, we will ensure to stabilize the state, Western Barkazal, so that the development, the initiative of peace will prevail in the state. So we want the state to be stable, and we want the state to have peace and people of Western Barkazal to live in harmony. So, because we are coming to make change in the states and strengthen the SPLM.
The Minister of Information, Communication Technology and Postal Services, Ateng Wegateng, has reaffirmed South Sudan's commitment to advancing inclusive governance and democratic reforms. Ateng made these remarks after attending the high-level ministerial panel on regional collaboration for democracy held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Duku Wilson reports.
Of the African Union's Assembly of Heads of States and Governments.
Under the theme, Making Democracy Deliver, Restoring Public Trust and Strengthening Institutional Resilience Through Regional Partnership in Africa, the summit brought together foreign affairs ministers from Nigeria, Mauritania, Sierra Leone and South Africa alongside senior UNDP officials. Discussions focused on challenges facing democracy in Africa and explored pathways to strengthen governance, development and citizen participation. Speaking after the meeting, Minister Ateng said the panel held frank deliberations on obstacles to democratic progress, emphasizing that inclusive governance and sustainable development remain key pillars for democratic success.
We just concluded a sidelined summit for the Making Democracy Deliver in Africa. There was a panel discussion that actually spoke length about why democracy in Africa sometimes is difficult to achieve, and that all the perspective of how Africans can embark on the process of democratization has been all discussed, and South Sudan future among African countries.
He expressed optimism about South Sudan's democratic future and noted that the country benefited from the exchange of regional experiences.
Everything was actually addressed, including the inclusivity in government and development. If the development is not done, these are the things that make democracy difficult to deliver. We benefit a lot. In Ethiopia here, I came head of delegation of South Sudan. That included Moiga Indro, Karakoto, the Commissioner of Access to Information. We are benefiting enough, and we will take this experience back to our country.
The summit concluded with a shared commitment to deepen partnerships aimed at promoting accountable and inclusive democracy across Africa. For SSBC News, I am Duku Wilson reporting from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Interior Minister Leo Hayenya Leo has conducted a high-level inspection visit to the civil defense to personally assess the working conditions and operational capacity of the emergency response unit. Addressing the officers, the minister emphasized the gravity of their role in national stability and public safety. The visit also highlighted significant gaps in the department's readiness. Johnson Losuk, the Commissioner of Civil Defense, briefed the minister on several systemic challenges currently hindering their work. Most notably, the Commissioner pointed out a lack of basic requirements, including official uniforms for the force.
شغل بدايتهم تخطيط بداية دفاع المدني تدافع المواطن كيف؟ تدافع المواطن بأنه يديكم عندكم حق تعمل توصية لحاجات قيام المواطن في أي مهمة.
5 6 7 سنة ميزانية بتاعت الدولة نحن ما شفنا نفسنا جوا عشان نقدر نجيب كارت. ما شفنا نفسنا جوا في ميزانية بتاع الدولة قبل 5 6 سنة عشان نجيب عربات بتاع متعاف. نحن ما شفنا ميزانية بتاع الدولة 5 سنة 6 سنة نحن كدفاع المدني جوا عشان نأسس مركز بتاع تدريب الدفاع.
The Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Bak Barnabe Cholbak, has begun implementing stronger financial measures, including nationwide enforcement of a digital tax collection system and expansion of the revenue base to seal loopholes affecting revenue collections across government institutions. Dr. Bak convened with the Commissioner General of the South Sudan Revenue Authority, William Anyuan Kwal, to review revenue collection performance. The officials emphasized the importance of increasing tax collection and strengthening revenue mobilization to address the country's prevailing economic challenges. Now, in a major step to strengthen the country's energy infrastructure, the government has inspected the 20-megawatt Nesitu solar power project set for commissioning in June this year. The project, that includes a 35-megawatt battery storage system, has been under development since 2019 towards delivering affordable and reliable electricity to communities across the country. SSBC's Cholatak reports.
Amid stalled national energy and dam projects that continue to disrupt economic and household activities due to unreliable power supply, the government is moving to revitalize the sector. Minister of Energy and Dams Agog Makurkur led a delegation comprising representatives from Trinity Company, the project operator, and officials from Al Suwaidi, the Egyptian firm implementing the project, to inspect the Nesitu solar power station and access challenges delaying its completion. Minister Kur says once operational, the project will provide affordable electricity and expand access to areas long affected by power shortages.
نحن في وزارة الكهرباء محتاجين بأسرع وقت أن يدخل الطاقة الشمسية في حيز التنفيذ وفي إطار الخطة القصيرة. المسؤولين من شركة ترينتي إنهم جاهزين لتشغيل هذه المحطة في فترة قد يكون أقصاها 4 أشهر. زرت المنطقة بتاعت الكنترول، توقفت البطاطير، تأكدت إنه البطاطير بيشتغل 24 ساعة، وأيضا عرفت إنه الطاقة الموجودة هنا عبارة عن 37,744 اللي هو بيسموه للخلايا، في 37,744 خلية موجود هنا.
The 20-megawatt Nesitu solar project is a partnership between Trinity Company and Egypt Al Suwaidi. Once operational, it is expected to improve access to reliable and affordable electricity. The government is also considering expanding capacity to 100 megawatts to further strengthen the energy sector. Chol Attack, SSBC News.
Egyptian business experts from Doles Company and Aboria Group Construction Company have held talks with the Minister of Trade and Industry, Tonkwal Manyangjuk, to express their interest in investment opportunities and capacity building in the business sector. Minister of Trade and Industry, Tonkwal Manyangjuk, expressed support for strengthening business cooperation between the two countries. Diplomat Kang Gatkot Kang from the South Sudan Embassy in Cairo accompanied the business delegation.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Minister of Trade and Industry and on behalf of my minister, we are very glad to receive today our visitors from Egypt, who are the ASHU company for investment. Is an apex body. Egypt is a very long friend of South Sudan. And we in South Sudan are very, very happy with our Egyptian friends for the support they've been rendering to South Sudan since the independence of this country and beyond. Most of our leaders today in South Sudan are graduates of Egypt. And even me, I'm one of them who was trained in Egypt. So we are very happy with our friends from Egypt. And our visit, this visit of today is very, very important because, as we know, South Sudan is endowed with a lot of resources. And this company is a group of companies who are specialized in so many fields of expertise. So I think with our engagement with this company, we shall be able to see in future, and in the near future, some light of the companies which are going to be implemented in South Sudan. They have offered a lot of opportunities which we have here in South Sudan for sure, and we hope if we go and make a lot of consultations about the companies which are available and what they can offer to South Sudan, I think we shall be able to benefit from South Sudan.
On behalf of Ahmed Ashur Group, we are pleased to be here between our brothers and sisters in South Sudan. We came here and met the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry to introduce our services that we can provide in your country. We believe that in Egypt and South Sudan we are normal extension for each other, so we came here to introduce our services. We are active in many fields, pharmaceutical industries, mining, steel container, and digital services, as well as another field of activities.
Humanitarian authorities and the International Organization for Migration, IOM, have pledged to deepen humanitarian cooperation and coordination. This follows a meeting between the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Albino Kolatag, and IOM Chief of Mission in Juba on Wednesday. The ministry's Undersecretary William Koidao says the meeting expressed obstacles affecting the delivery of durable solutions for vulnerable communities, while the IOM Chief of Mission stresses the importance of maintaining collaboration in advancing sustainable solutions for displaced and vulnerable communities in the country.
A number of fruitful items discussed. Among the items discussed are the challenges facing the implementations or the realizations of durable solutions in the country, and that the issues of returnees and IDPs, especially in Bintu and Malakal, were discussed because other partners, IOM and the rest of the partners, support the government to ensure that the people settle back to their place of origin. The minister assured the head of mission that the government will continue to support where possible to make sure that issues of insecurity are addressed so that the project itself can be realized.
I've just come from a meeting with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. I am the JSR Chief of Mission of IOM. This meeting was an opportunity to talk about challenges facing humanitarian partners and how to improve access and address the challenges for the most vulnerable who need life-saving assistance, but also to discuss how to protect efforts that focus on helping displaced people, communities that have been displaced for many years, continue rebuilding their life despite the current challenges, and to see what options are available so that people can live and rebuild their lives.
On parliamentary activities, the Minister of Health, Sarah Equatorial, has appealed to the Parliamentary Committee on Health led by Majak Alier to persuade the Ministry of Finance and Planning to increase ministry's budget to meet its national mandate. Sarah stresses a massive decline in medical services due to inadequate funds to facilitate medical programs across the country.
In the speech of the Honorable Minister of Finance, health and humanitarian sectors have really not been put in a priority, and they have been left to be dependent on the partners. But the partners themselves now, most of these partners have declined to support our health services. In this meeting, we are raising the issues of health seriously.
So these were the main points of discussion, and I'm really grateful to the two committees from the two houses to try to see how we can raise the budget of the ministry, and then they will be working with their colleagues in the transitional National Legislative Assembly and the Council of States to see where they can support the health. And as I put it and reiterate, we have to look at health as a national.
Still on parliamentary activities, the acting Minister of Labour, who is also the Minister of Public Service and Human Resource Development, Ezekiel Olgatquoth, has briefed the Parliamentary Committee on Finance about the ministry's efforts aimed at fostering macroeconomic policy and enhancing youth empowerment.
I was summoned by the subcommittee in the Specialized Committee of Finance and Economic Planning. We came to brief them on how we are working on empowering youth and how we can actually capacitate our young people so that they can contribute to the growth of the economy of this country. We will be working very closely with honorable members of the Parliament to see how we can actually harmonize our plans and policies toward empowering our young people. This country belongs to our young people and all of us. We will work together to make sure that our youth are empowered so that they can contribute to the growth of the economy of this country.
We have discussed a number of issues about the fiscal financial year budget, national budget of 2025-2026. We are concentrating on the youth employment, the employment of women, and the number of foreigners who are working in South Sudan, and how can our youth like the Toronto boys and others be empowered, or how they can be rehabilitated and capacitated, and how the vocational training schools within the 10 state and 3 administrative areas can be upgraded so that it can be able to absorb a number of our youth so that their capacity is built, so that they provide human resource for the nation.
It was a conversation on how to engage our youth through youth empowerment scheme called YES. And we have asked the Honorable Minister and his team to go back and reflect and also be looking at the budget and try to see what resources could be allocated towards youth employment, because the objective of economic policy is full employment. And in South Sudan, our youth are not employed, some are underutilized or underemployed, and they become vulnerable to other factors which divert them to not to.
As discussion on the 2025-2026 national budget continues at the Parliament, Roads and Bridges Minister Peter Lambot has complained about the inadequate budget allocated to the ministry, appealing to the Parliamentary Committee on Roads led by Catherine Noboi to engage the Ministry of Finance and planning to increase the budget to facilitate the resumption of the National Roads project.
Today we came here to have a meeting with the Specialized Committee on Roads and Bridges or Infrastructure, and we discussed the issue of the budget for 2025 and 2026. We scrutinized the budget items that were presented, and we came to share the ideas with our committee. And it was an excellent meeting, and we have given our views. Hopefully, the budget will be passed as it was presented.
We in the Committee of Roads and Bridges, today we received the Minister to cross-check about the budget. We have few observations regarding the budget. There are few items that are left out, and it is the normal procedures that we normally do. But still, as the most important institution, the most important items in development of each country, we still need a lot to be allocated to the roads. Even the one that is already allocated, if we only give it as a priority and give that specific allocation, we can do priority roads that can help the country to improve.
Still to come, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Hussein Abdalbagi Akola, has reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting agricultural development projects nationwide. We will have that story right here after a short break. Please do stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and in case you have just joined us, this is SSBC 1 p.m. news coming to life in the national capital, Juba, with me, Abraham Aken. Now, Agriculture Minister Hussein Abdalbagi Akola has reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting agricultural development projects nationwide. Hussein issued the statement following his meeting with the Western Equatorial State Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Nagomoro Brigade, focusing on strategies to implement key agricultural projects aimed at boosting, strengthening food security in the state. The Undersecretary for Cooperatives and Rural Developments at the National Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Anthony Majak Achuoth, emphasized the importance of empowering farmers, promote cooperatives, and enhance rural development.
The aim of the meeting was to brief the ministry on the programs and the projects of the state. The Honorable Minister has presented most of the projects that will be carried out in Western Equatorial State, and the National Ministry has pledged to support the project as we are in the farming season. Also, Honorable Minister of Agriculture has said Western Equatorial State is the state that farming season will be launched in the next month of March. All the projects of the ministry will be carried out there. Also, it is good that we have heard from the Honorable Minister that there is a land, because we are planning, as it was announced 2 days ago, that there will be a conference. And one of the aims of the conference is to identify the places, especially the land from the states and administrative areas, that will be used and given to the potential investors.
Western Equatoria has been honored that they will launch the program for the agriculture this year in Western Equatoria. We are happy and we are honored. Please, the program is very welcome to Western Equatoria State, and I invite everyone to come and enjoy staying in Western Equatoria, a green land where you have all that we can expect to have. So I'm so thankful. I'm here to register only my sincere thanks to the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, especially to the Honorable Minister for his support and cooperation. And I would be here standing with my Honorable, His Excellency the Governor, but he's a little bit...
Away from that, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mary Nawai Martin, has presented her ministry's projects and 2026 plans to the Council of State's Specialized Committee for Gender, Youth and Sports. During the meeting, Minister Nawai stressed the importance of funding the project despite the economic challenges. The committee's acting chairperson, Athian Kwat, says the meeting addressed the challenges facing the ministry to ensure effective implementation of youth empowerment.
The committee are concerned about the small budget that we have for the Ministry of Youth and Sports. That's why they called us and asked whether we accept the budget to be like that or we need the increment. So we presented the programs, some of the priorities for the committee members to understand the programs that we need to carry. So that's why we are here and we discuss it fruitfully, and we need the increment of the budget so that we can achieve all what we have prioritized for this year.
Council of State concerning the allocation of resources to the Ministry of Youth and Sport, meaning that we need to support the youth from the state, county, PAM, meaning that we call the Ministry of Youth and Sport to support the youth in the ministry, in the whole level, from the PAM, Bumba and state activities. So also urging the Ministry of Finance to pay the Ministry of Youth and Sport to run and support the youth, and even the youth in the IDP and the youth of the camps to come and...
In a diplomatic engagement, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Akwe Bonamalwal, engages in diplomatic talks with the U.S. Ambassador Michael J. Adler. The meeting centered on strengthening bilateral relations and advancing mutual interest between the two countries. The discussions also addressed mechanisms for managing the return of South Sudanese nationals deported from the United States. The ministry's spokesman, Thomas Kenneth, says both officials reaffirmed their commitment to sustained diplomatic engagement.
The meeting was in a continuous spirit of engagement at highest level between the Republic of South Sudan and the U.S. to discuss some important issues of mutual interest between the two countries. The meeting also discussed ways of how to manage the deported people of South Sudan from the United States of America back to the...
Ethiopian ambassador has visited the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs over bilateral defense relations between Juba and Addis Ababa. Ministries Under Secretary Keitong Aleu received the diplomat, reaffirming the renewed joint efforts to strengthen peace and security along the common borders of the two countries.
Today I make a courtesy visit to the minister and we discussed the bilateral relationship. That's a very historical and long-standing bilateral relationship. And we agreed to further deepen our cooperation in the areas of peace and security. On this regard, we have an agreement which has been signed in 2012, and we need to review that agreement and make it sure it fits today's demand of the two countries. And on this agreement, there are cited cooperation areas, mainly capacity building and other areas of cooperation. So we have agreed on all these areas to be further seen, and the relationship could be further deepened. The other is just we need a cooperation on the peace and stability of the whole of Africa and the entire Great Lake region. So in this area also the two ministries, the Ministry of Defense of South Sudan and Ethiopia, can work together.
Very crucial meeting with the
Ambassador of Ethiopia to revise all the agreement that was signed between Ethiopia and Ministry of Defense, and we agreed that all the agreement should be revised, and then we will continue to cooperate with Ethiopia, and then we agreed also to have a very crucial cooperation on the border issues, and then we change any information that we have, and then the same thing also from the Ethiopia. So we are happy to receive him in our office, and then we agree also to have anything that.
Well, that's all what we have for you this hour. From me, Abraham Ken, and the whole team here in our headquarters. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.